You know the most exhausting thing in the world, letting someone else rent space in your head for free. You can be sitting in your car, driving home after a good day, and suddenly you replay that one sentence someone said to you 3 hours ago. And before you know it, your whole mood has shifted. That's what happens when we react, when we let ourselves get bothered. It's like handing over the remote control to our own peace and saying, "Here, change the channel whenever you want." The truth is, you can't stop people from doing or saying things that could upset you. That's their job, whether they're doing it on purpose or because that's just how they are. But you can stop giving them the power to control your reaction. And that's the shift we're going to make today. Not reacting is not about being passive. It's not about ignoring every problem or pretending you don't care. It's about deciding that your energy is too valuable to waste on people who don't deserve it. It's about putting your peace in a vault, one that no one else has the code to. Here's the hard truth. Most people who try to push your buttons are really just checking to see if they still work. If they say something sarcastic, dismissive, or rude, and you fire back right away, you just confirm that their button pushing works. But if you don't react, if you keep that same calm tone and the same relaxed posture, you've just told them, without saying a word, that doesn't work on me anymore. And people lose interest in things that stop working. One of the biggest mistakes people make is thinking that not reacting means staying silent and letting it eat away at you inside. No, that's just silent reacting. I'm talking about true non-reaction, where you genuinely don't let it land. Think of it like someone throwing a ball at you. You can either catch it and hold on to it, or you can let it bounce off and roll away. You don't need to catch every ball. You don't even need to acknowledge every throw. When you live in reaction mode, you're constantly at the mercy of the next comment, the next post, the next opinion. But when you switch to response mode, or even better, selective response mode, you control the timing, the tone, and even the choice of whether to engage at all. That's where the real power is. Here's what most people miss. You don't have to show up to every argument you're invited to. Someone can send you the verbal equivalent of a wedding invitation to drama, and you can RSVP with silence. You can walk right past it like it's not even happening. And you know what's crazy? Over time, people stop inviting you. They stop bringing you into mess because they know you won't play. Let me be clear, this is not about letting disrespect slide. You can set boundaries without putting on a show. You can say, "I'm not going to engage with that," and walk away. You can say, "That's not an acceptable way to speak to me," and then keep your energy exactly where it was. Because reacting, yelling, clapping back, proving your point often gives the other person exactly what they wanted: your attention, your emotional energy, your focus. Think about the last time someone got under your skin. You might have spent hours crafting the perfect comeback in your head. You might have told 3 other people about it just to vent. But here's the thing, you were still giving that person free rent in your mind the whole time. And for what? They were probably somewhere else, eating lunch, not even thinking about you. People only have as much power over you as you give them. And one of the fastest ways to take back your power is to stop giving them your reactions. It's not easy at first, especially if you're used to defending yourself, explaining yourself, or clapping back. But once you start practicing, you'll realize that you actually feel lighter when you don't get pulled into someone else's chaos. So how do you do it? First, you slow everything down. When someone says something triggering, don't respond immediately. Give yourself a beat, literally. Take a breath, feel your feet on the floor, let the first wave of emotion pass. Because your first reaction is usually the one that belongs to your ego, not your peace. Second, you filter the situation through a simple question. Does this really deserve my energy? 9 times out of 10, the answer will be no. That snide comment from a coworker, not worth it. The rude driver who cut you off, not worth it. The relative who keeps making passive-aggressive remarks at family dinners, still not worth it. Third, you remind yourself that people's behavior is about them, not you. Someone being rude doesn't make you less valuable. Someone disagreeing with you doesn't make you wrong. Someone ignoring you doesn't make you invisible. Their actions are a reflection of their own state of mind, their own insecurities, their own struggles. You don't need to take any of that personally. Fourth, you build your baseline of calm. This is huge because if you're already running on stress, anxiety, and low patience, it takes almost nothing to set you off. But if you're grounded, If you've been taking care of yourself, sleeping enough, staying active, keeping perspective, then you have a much bigger buffer between what someone says and how you feel about it. And finally, you decide who gets access to you in the first place. If someone is constantly pushing your buttons, maybe it's time to move the control panel. You don't have to keep the same level of access with everyone. Distance is a form of non-reaction. You can step back from certain conversations, certain environments, even certain relationships. And when you do, you'll find you have less to react to in the first place. Some people will notice your shift and try harder to get a reaction out of you. That's normal. It's like when a vending machine eats someone's dollar. They start pushing all the buttons harder before they give up. Just stay consistent. Keep showing them that your piece is not for sale, not for rent, not even available on loan. Eventually, they'll stop trying. There's also a beautiful side effect to all this when you stop reacting to negativity. You start having more energy for the things that actually matter. You have more mental space for creativity, more patience for the people you love, more focus for your goals. You realize that your attention is one of the most valuable currencies you have, and you stop spending it on nonsense. Imagine this. Someone says something to you tomorrow that, in the past, would have ruined your mood for the whole day. But this time, you hear it, you pause, and you just let it go. You go on with your day like nothing happened. No replaying it in your head, no texting 3 friends about it, no plotting your next move. You just move on. That's not weakness. That's not avoidance. That's mastery. It's like being a tree in a storm. The wind can blow, the rain can fall, but your roots are deep and you're not going anywhere. People can throw words like stones, but they just hit the bark and fall away. You don't bend for every breeze and you don't snap for every gust. You stand where you are, steady. And here's the thing, when you live this way, you also stop being the one who bothers other people unnecessarily. You stop reacting to their reactions. You start choosing your words more carefully. You begin leading with calm instead of emotion. And that changes everything about the way you show up in the world. Because let's be real, reacting is easy. Anybody can do it, but not reacting, that's rare. That's powerful. That's something people notice. They might not always like it, but they'll respect it. And even if they don't, you won't be bothered because their opinion doesn't control you anymore. The more you practice, the more you realize that your reaction is not just about the other person. It's about you proving to yourself that you can stay in control no matter what's happening around you. And once you feel that, you'll never want to go back. The real magic in not reacting isn't just that people can't get to you anymore. It's that you start to trust yourself in situations that used to throw you off balance. Before, maybe you walked into certain rooms already tense because you knew who might be there and what they might say. Your shoulders tightened, your breathing changed, and you mentally rehearsed comebacks in case they tried something. Now, you can walk into that same room relaxed because you know you can handle anything without letting it disturb your peace. That shift, that's freedom. It's like carrying an umbrella everywhere you go. People can try to rain on you all they want, but you've already got protection. And here's the thing, most of the time they stop trying when they see the rain isn't doing anything. People feed off reaction. They thrive on it. Drama without an audience dies quickly. The challenge is our brains are wired to protect our ego, and sometimes that protection looks like defending ourselves right away. If someone criticizes you, the instinct is to correct them, to prove them wrong, to set the record straight. But here's a question why. What do you actually get from proving yourself to someone who's not even interested in understanding you? That's like trying to explain a movie to someone who's already decided they hate it before it starts. Waste of breath. And this is where self-respect comes in. Self-respect says, I don't need to convince you of my worth. I already know it. Self-respect says, if you misunderstand me, that's on you, not me. Self-respect lets you walk away without explaining yourself because your value doesn't depend on someone else's approval. That's the foundation of not being bothered. Here's something you might not expect. When you stop reacting, you'll actually hear people more clearly. Why? Because you're not so focused on what you're going to say next. You're not listening just to respond. You're listening to understand. And when you do that, you realize that a lot of people's words are more about their own stress, pain, or insecurity than about you. Suddenly, you're not taking it personally. Suddenly, it's easier to stay calm. This isn't about becoming cold or disconnected. It's about becoming selective. You can still engage in real conversations, still express yourself, still stand up for what's right. You're just doing it from a place of calm rather than a place of reactivity. You're speaking because it's the right thing to do, not because someone provoked you into it. Think of it like martial arts. The best fighters don't go swinging wildly at every little move. They watch, they wait, they conserve energy. They only strike when it's necessary and effective. That's what you're doing with your reactions. You're not wasting them on meaningless battles. There's also an emotional health benefit here. Every time you react in anger or frustration, your body experiences it physically. Your heart rate spikes, your muscles tense, your stress hormones flood in. Over time, that takes a toll. But when you practice calm non-reaction, your body stays in balance. Your mind feels clearer. You recover faster from life's curveballs. It's not that you're never going to feel triggered again. You will. You're human. But you can learn to notice that moment when your temperature starts rising and choose not to act on it. You can let that wave pass without surfing it all the way to the shore. Here's a scenario to think about. You're at work. A colleague makes a snide comment during a meeting. In the past, you would have snapped back or stewed over it all afternoon. This time, you just nod, maybe even smile slightly and move on. You stick to your agenda, you finish your work, you go home without carrying that tension with you. You just saved yourself hours of mental energy. That's the win. Another scenario, your family. Maybe there's one person who always seems to find a way to push your buttons at gatherings. Before, it would ruin your night. Now, you recognize their patterns. You know their remarks aren't really about you. So you respond with a neutral, okay, or change the subject. And instead of going home frustrated, you leave feeling fine because you didn't let them control your mood. What you're really building here is emotional independence. You're saying, my mood is mine. My peace is mine. My reactions are mine. I don't outsource them to anyone else. And once you've built that, it's not easy for people to shake you. This doesn't mean people won't still try. Some will test you more than ever when they see you're not reacting. That's fine. Let them. Consistency is key here. If you stay steady long enough, even the most persistent button pushers will get bored. It's like a kid poking a toy that doesn't light up or make noise anymore. They move on. And yes, there will be moments where silence or calmness feels like you're letting someone get away with something. But you have to ask yourself, is my goal here to punish them? Or is my goal to protect my peace? If the goal is peace, you've already won by not engaging. There's also this subtle but powerful change that happens when you stop being so easily rattled. People actually start to treat you differently. They see that you're not quick to anger, not quick to gossip, not quick to bite. They start to respect that you're not easy to pull into nonsense. Your reputation shifts from the person you can mess with to the person who's always steady. One of the most useful tools you can carry is a simple phrase, I hear you. It's neutral. It doesn't agree or disagree. It doesn't invite more drama. It just acknowledges that you received their words. Most of the time, that's all people want, to be heard. And once they feel heard, the conversation moves on. Another tool, physical stillness. When someone's trying to provoke you, any big reaction, eye rolls, sighs, shifting in your seat feeds them. But if you keep your body language calm, your facial expression neutral, and your voice steady, you're telling them without words, you're not shaking me. This isn't about pretending. It's about practicing until it becomes real. At first, you might still feel bothered inside, but choose not to show it. Over time, with enough repetition, you won't even feel that internal spike anymore. You'll hear the comment, and it'll be like background noise. And here's the part I love the most, when you master this skill, you become unshakable, not just in conflict, but in life. That driver who cuts you off on the freeway doesn't matter. That stranger online who disagrees with you doesn't matter. That unexpected delay in your plans doesn't matter. You start to move through the world with a calm that other people notice, and often they start to match it. You also stop being reactive in your own head. You know those imaginary arguments you have with people while you're in the shower or lying in bed? They start to disappear because your brain starts realizing there's no payoff for rehearsing battles you're never going to fight. Now, some people will try to tell you that if you're not reacting, you're weak. Let them think that. Strength isn't in how loudly you can defend yourself, it's in how little you need to. When you can walk away from provocation without losing your cool, You've already shown more control than most people ever will. And let's be honest, reacting can feel good in the moment. That burst of adrenaline, that clever comeback, it's tempting, but it's short-lived. Afterwards, you're left with the fallout, more tension, more drama, maybe even regret. Non-reaction might not feel as exciting in the moment, but it pays off in the long run. Here's something else to remember. Every time you choose not to react, you're reinforcing a new habit. Habits build character, and character builds your life. You're literally rewiring your brain to value peace over ego, calm over chaos, presence over pride. That's not just about dealing with people. It's about how you live your entire life. So tomorrow, the next time someone tries to get under your skin, remember, you don't have to pick up every rope that's thrown to you. You don't have to enter every ring you're invited into. You don't have to catch every ball that's tossed your way. You can let it drop. You can walk away. You can stay steady. And in doing that, you're not losing. You're winning in the only game that matters, the one where you keep your peace no matter what. At the end of the day, not reacting or being bothered by someone isn't about pretending things don't affect you. It's about refusing to give your peace away for free. You can't stop people from having opinions. You can't stop them from making comments. You can't stop them from misunderstanding you. But you can stop them from steering the direction of your day, your mood, and your mind. That's where your power lies. When you understand that most provocation is just noise, you stop chasing explanations, you stop performing comebacks, and you stop spending hours in mental battles that lead nowhere. You realize that your attention is a currency, and you start investing it in things that bring you joy, growth, and fulfillment instead of wasting it on friction. There's a freedom that comes with emotional independence. You can walk into any room knowing you don't have to defend yourself to be valuable. You can hear a jab and let it slide right past you. You can choose silence without feeling weak. And you can stand steady in the middle of chaos, knowing you're rooted in self-respect, not swayed by someone else's storms. This doesn't mean you never speak up. It means when you do, it's intentional. It's measured. It's because you chose to, not because you were baited into it. And that choice changes everything. So as you leave here, remember this, your peace is not up for negotiation. It is not for sale, not for rent, and not available on loan. Guard it like the priceless thing it is, because the less you react to the noise around you, the more you can hear the sound of your own life moving forward. And that's the only sound that matters.